Hi, so we just walked through and did a move-in inspection on this house, and now I'm just going to kind of explain some things that I feel is important when you're documenting the condition of a property, whether it's move-in or move-out. So we talked about the lawn, and it's important that I pointed out that we've had a lot of rain, so this lawn is going to need to be cut in another couple of days, and that's just a difficult thing to get around. You have no choice with that. We also talked about some of the potato vines that are on the house. It's important to point out that we didn't pull them right down because that's going to pull the paint off the house. We had to cut them and let them die, and then we'll come back and we'll pull them off of the wall. So let's go inside and I'll point out a few things that we talked about. So I mentioned the fact that there's not screens on the window. So you want to document that because you don't want to later hold the tenant responsible for losing the screens or something like that. And if the tenant submits a maintenance request for screens, we'll certainly get them screens for the property. We talked about the walls. There's some normal wear and tear. Your properties are not going to need a full paint between every tenant. If there's just a couple of nail holes in the wall and it's a colored paint and not white, it's very difficult to touch up colored paint. So in that respect, I let my painter know if it's just a few nail holes, just go ahead and take those nails out. And if it's not noticeable, then we don't necessarily need to touch up every single wall. I like to point out on doors, French doors, all doors, that they're in good condition and that there are not pet scratches, because that's the typical type of damage that's going to happen is a dog may claw on that. So I like to point out when there is not damage, and of course point out when there's damage. The fireplace, I like pointing out the fact that it doesn't have a log holder, and that's something that if the tenants request that, then we'll certainly get that for them. I also point out that the light fixtures are in good condition and clean. The appliances are really important to document. You want to document not only that they're clean, but that there's no damage to them. And so you want to go slow whenever you're videotaping that. Cabinets, you'll mainly want to point out what the existing flaws are, like in the paint, that kind of thing, but also whether they're clean or not. And at this point, when you're doing a move-in inspection, if they were damaged, you would have taken care of that already. So hopefully you don't have damage to actually point out when it comes to the repair of the property. Floors, again, you just want to document that they're clean, especially in here like on the hardwood floors. You're going to want to document the areas that kind of show a little bit more wear. Hardwood floors are naturally going to wear over the years. Some areas are going to be a little darker than others, and you just want to point that out so that you know that it's not something that the tenant damaged. I do like to make sure, of course, that there's a new AC filter in place, which we did already, and check and verify that at the move-in inspection time. And again, if you remember, normally we're doing these move-in inspections with our tenant in place, or with the tenant with us, and so I'll actually show them where their AC filter is and how to change it, and we ask them to change it once a month. It does cut down on the dust in the home, and it also keeps their electric bills lower. In the bathrooms, you want to point out that the fixtures, plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, those kind of things are in good condition, and also that they're clean. Same thing with showers. You want to make sure that it's not leaking. Those are the type of things you would have caught on your move-out inspection. We like to point out the screens, the windows, the window locks, and the blinds. So you want to document that these things are in good condition as well as clean, so that they're in good repair and they're clean. So those are just some of the highlights of what I recommend that you do whenever you're doing an inspection. Whether it's a move-in inspection or a move-out inspection, you always need to be thinking about documenting for the tenant the existing damage, but at the same time, you're documenting for the owner that things are in good condition. And that way it saves all that argument at the end when the tenants move out. There's nothing worse than having a great relationship throughout the whole process of the lease and the time that the tenant's living in the house, and then ruin it because you're arguing about minor things at the security deposit time as far as reconciling that. And so just clear documentation saves everybody that hassle.